Welcome to Never Too Late podcast and the second episode of our conversation with the Reverend Janie Koch, Episcopal priest, lifelong teacher, and holy mischief maker. When was it, though? How long were you back in church before you sensed the holy nudge of the ordained ministry coming your way? How long? Not that it matters, but I'm just curious.
Probably maybe about 6 years.
Wow.
Now, when I was growing up, this is funny too. I had no experience with the Catholic Church at all when I was growing up. But I wanted to be a nun. And people would ask me, Janie, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a nun.
Oh, wow.
And
That's awesome.
I want to wear the long black robes and I want to pray all the time and I want to be with Jesus. I want to be a nun. I didn't know what that was.
Right.
So I'd been back in the Episcopal Church probably for about 6 years, and which happens.
There was another call coming your way.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
and most likely, and I'm making an assumption here, but I know that at least in the evangelical Baptist church we grew up in, women did not serve as clergy.
Mm-mm. And that was a huge hurdle.
Yeah.
That was a huge hurdle. I actually went to seminary only for the education because I was coming back from after being gone for so long, and I felt like I knew the emotions that I was supposed to feel, but I didn't have the education. I didn't have the history, and I wanted the education. So I went to seminary without the intention of becoming ordained because women aren't supposed to be clergy.
Except in our church, but
Yes, exactly.
and several others. But anyway.
Yeah. And in that process and in developing some beautiful relationships with my cohort and with professors, my belief was being shifted as well.
Yeah. So the natural teacher in you, the educator, wanted more education.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that was a part of the formation, wasn't it?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So was there a moment, I'll share a little bit of mine. I'm a priest today because of the Reverend Becky Robbins Penniman. Forgive me, Becky, for using your name on the podcast without having you come on, which, by the way, that's a good idea. Anyway, she saw gifts in me that I couldn't see in myself. And she's the reason that Terry and I fell in love with the church that wound up sponsoring me for seminary. And so the idea that women in ministry is such a given for me. I still wonder how some denominations really can't make that. I don't know. Anyway, so was there, so that you had your cohort, you had these folks that kind of saw in you the gifts, and so you went through the ordination process, which I think I've explained to listeners before, but just a little tidbit is because I managed that for two different bishops on their behalf. It's not like I want to be a priest and then they lay hands on you and put a stole on you and you go. Not only do you have to go to seminary for 3 years, but I'm going to give a little tidbit here. Your local church has to listen to your call and affirm it. Your bishop has to hear some of your call, but doesn't affirm it quite yet. He sends you to the Commission on Ministry, which is lay people and ordained people of the diocese that sit and listen to your story. And then you go to the standing committee who listens to your story and assesses you and then sends you to seminary, and they assess your grades. They assess what your professors say. You take you take the ordination exam, which is I'm sorry, I don't mean to, a lot of people don't know this. You take 6 exams that are graded nationally against national standards. And then if you pass all that, then somebody else has to vote. And then eventually the bishop says, yeah, I'm going to ordain you. And then they ordain you, not priest first, but deacon. You have to spend at least 6 months to be as a deacon before you're ever ordained priest. The point is, this is a process, isn't it?
Yes. And
And it's
that's
called,
one of that
yeah,
is
go ahead.
every step of the thing that you just every step of the journey is one of the main reasons why I actually took that jump, even when I still was thinking that women aren't supposed to be in positions of leadership. And I had seen them in the Episcopal Church. And and yet I knew that I was not going to walk this journey by myself. There were going to be many, many um, heads and hearts walking with this journey with me.
Hmm.
And I would be talking with them about my fears and about my joys and my what I wanted to do, and they would be listening, and they would have their own discernment process
Hmm.
as well along
Hmm.
with me.
Yeah.
And I was never alone. And I was immensely grateful for that process.
Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing. Again, people seeing gifts in us that we can't sometimes see in ourselves. I think
Yeah.
that's just someone told me that that was a description of a coach, a mentor, and a teacher is
Hmm.
someone who sees gifts in you. But not just that, they actually help you unpack those.
Hmm.
So you're serving. Can you talk a little bit about the church you're serving? And the question I had with that is it this is your first call after seminary?
Hmm. Yes.
That's what I thought. And that's amazing too, by the way, because as we both know, people who come right out of seminary don't always they're not in charge of a parish right out of the box. I was, you were.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about your parish that you're in right now and
Yes.
the ministry that you're doing, where it's at, and maybe a little bit about your congregation. Then I want to ask a little bit about some of the other things you're really doing there. It's really cool too.
Um, I am in McAllister, Oklahoma, which is in the southeast region of
Okay.
Oklahoma. And the town is about 17,000
Hmm.
people. And my congregation, All Saints Episcopal Church.
How
And
appropriate. How appropriate, All Saints. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. And it was started in the late 1800s because a coal mine in this area collapsed. And there
Wow.
were members of the community that had gotten trapped. And when they were pulling them out, the closest hospital was Oklahoma City, which is a ways away.
Hmm.
And so they put together a makeshift hospital here in this area. And so we started out as a hospital for the coal mine collapse. And
Wow.
yeah.
You told me that one time. I remember that.
Hmm.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. And the building that we have that's the original building when we were established as a church was built in 1911 and with sandstone, and it's beautiful. And then we've got the additions that were done in the 70s. And I've got a congregation that is growing actually. Um, Went through COVID. I got here in 2019,
Hmm.
and I was here for about 5, 6 months, and then COVID hit.
Hmm.
And you we weren't prepared for that in seminary either, which,
Mm-mm.
you learn technology.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. And my congregation has grown in number, and they've grown in their awareness of the world outside, and that going back to what we were talking about earlier, and that everyone is a creation of God,
Hmm.
and everyone is holy, and everyone was intended by God to be who they are.
Hmm.
And my congregation, it's been really interesting to see how they have looked from within to the within. They
Hmm.
look at themselves and they were looking at themselves. And now they're starting to look at the world outside and
Wow.
see more of the needs that are in our community, the needs
Hmm.
that are in our world, and they're more outward focused. And it's been really amazing to watch that growth, as well as my own growth in
Hmm.
learning how to be a leader and, do the business and plunge the toilets and, do all the things. Um,
All those
changing,
things, being a teacher and a jewelry store manager, has
yeah.
prepared you to be a priest. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
In some
yeah,
way.
somewhat. But they really are a beautiful congregation.
Hmm.
And I've said this before, and it's a really awkward thing to say when I hear it. But I've thought several times about moving to a new congregation and or a new place. And the appeal of that, of going to a larger church or a different state, a different diocese that has a um, different perspective of social justice.
Hmm.
Sounds a bit appealing.
Hmm.
And yet, I love the people of this congregation. And when you're in a congregation, you're going to bury many of them.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a beautiful and a holy process.
Hmm.
And there are members of this congregation that I want to do their funerals when that time comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love this church. I love these
Oh,
people,
wow.
and it's not time to leave yet. So,
Now that's what you call clarity of discernment. You can hear it in your voice. I'm not ready to leave.
mm-mm.
I have a sense that God's not ready for you to leave yet either. So, but who knows? You never can tell. Make a plan. But it sounds
Exactly.
like you have a wonderful ministry and people that love you. Because I just remember mine and Terry's visit with you all. Yeah, you got a special ministry, and the fact that your church was founded as a hospital makes me think about that. I don't know who said it. I wished I could remember who it is because I hate making quotes with people because, I went to seminary and I'm supposed to have footnotes and, blah, 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 citations and blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The church is not a museum of saints, it's a hospital for sinners. And then
Yeah.
then a friend of mine used to add, and every one of us are both patient and nurse and doctor and the whole medical team. I mean, we're doing both. We're both patient and those healing. So I
Oh,
just
yes.
that just speaks volumes. And if I'm not wrong, that has a lot to do with the ministries that you do in your community, the outreach ministries that you're doing.
Hmm.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We started back in the 70s. We started a food distribution ministry
Hmm.
that we would give out bags of groceries, then maybe 50, 75 bags of groceries. And it's grown quite a bit since then. And COVID kind of changed the parameters of how we were able to maneuver
Sure.
our our distribution. And so it's drive through. And probably within the last 6 to 8 months, we've gone from giving out about 180 to 200 bags of groceries once a month to now we're giving out about a little bit over 400.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and partnering with some of the our local merchants. There's a small grocery that's here in town
Mhm.
that we're partnering with, and we are now we have them drive through, but we're also delivering to
Oh my
apartment
goodness.
complexes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's a there are quite a few apartment complexes, and neighborhoods that are in our town that are in desperate need,
Hmm.
and people that are in the apartment buildings. There's one that's a kind of a high-rise building here in town, and a lot of the people that live there physically are not able to get out,
Hmm.
and so they most definitely are shut-ins, and many of them don't have transportation methods to come here.
Hmm.
And so I'm um if I see something, I'm just going to do it. I'll jump first and then think about it. So I said, "Well, why don't we take about 45 of these bags and just go deliver them to the Aldridge?" Okay, well, let's do it. I uh and you jump in feet first, and to see them come get their bags, oh my gosh, was just so fun.
Oh yeah.
And to see the community that's within that building, and they know each other by first name and they've lived there forever, was just such a joy. And so I thought, heck, there's got to be more places in town where we could deliver.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh
Oh
yes, there
yeah. Absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
And so now we actually are delivering as many bags as we are having cars drive through. So it right now it's pretty
Wow.
even.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have these images of Jesus and his disciples going out and feeding the crowd of 5,000. He didn't sit in the temple and say, "Come here and get it," or in the synagogue. He went out and he fed
Yeah.
them where they were at. And I think about that, and you're in making it incarnate now, the feeding of body which feeds souls, and the people
Yeah.
that are delivering are getting ministered to as much as those that are receiving the food, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
know that I know I'm fed by it because they have their stories to tell. They are
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's uh it's a joy. It's it's
Uh,
completely changed how I think about ministry and outreach
yeah.
ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't bring up political, and I'm not going there, but I'm just saying at a time where compassion and caring for others in their plight and being with people and
Mhm.
empathy is scorned, to be able to really see that the Lord that we serve, to be able to do what he did and the
Mhm.
people that followed him, um, and that's grace and all that. That's but it doesn't end there. You're also involved in a civic role in McAllister, right?
Mhm.
Talk.
We
Can you talk a
have
little bit about that?
Yeah, we have not not to be political, we have quite a few homeless
Hmm.
in our town, and those that are experiencing homelessness, they have a lot of different needs, of
Hmm.
course. And so there are some organizations that are here in town, and the city council is putting together an advisory board. And so we are looking at the ways in which we can meet the needs of those who are experiencing homelessness right
Hmm.
now, and how we can address substance abuse, how we
Hmm.
can address mental and emotional health.
Hmm.
Part of
Yep.
this also came from and part of my involvement with it came from us opening a warming shelter back in 2021. We had a really wicked winter here in,
Hmm.
yeah, Southeast Oklahoma.
I remember. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And someone made the comment, you know, if you say, why don't we, or you know what would be a really good idea, and they make that kind of offhanded comment, I'm gonna do it. Just
Challenge
just
me.
because. Exactly. And so we knew that the weather was going to get bad, and someone in my congregation said, "You know, I wish we had in town some place for those who are having a really difficult time, have a place to go."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, "Oh, oh." And my head started going through like ticker tape, all of the things that we would have to plan for and prep and all of that. And I said to myself, that'll get taken care of. Just do it. So we did. And that weekend, when the bad weather hit, we opened up. I didn't ask permission from my church either. I just decided to do it. And that's another way that my congregation is so gracious. Um,
Here she goes again. No,
yep. Yeah.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah. And so we were open 3 or 4 days that during that one stint. And we've opened every year. And this last year, we had a really long winter,
Hmm.
something that we hadn't had. And so we opened for 4 different times during the winter season. And I think we were open all of it together, when we combine it together, it was about 5 to 6 weeks that we were
Oh my
open,
goodness.
24 hours a day. And
Wow. Goodness
um,
gracious.
yeah, and one of the components and one of the things that is really meaningful for those who are unhoused are their pets.
Right, right.
And they want to have their pets with them, and they're willing to stay out and be vulnerable if their pet can't come in. And
I
so
understand
we
that. Yep.
partnered. Yeah, you love your
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh my gosh. They're my
Yeah,
children.
yes. And so we partnered with a couple of animal organizations here in town, and they brought in crates and cages and
Oh my goodness.
tarps and blankets and food. And we had probably 15 to 20 um, cages lined along one side of
Oh
the
wow.
wall in our parish hall or our fellowship hall.
Hmm.
And they had put tarps underneath, and there were dog food, and there was kitty litter, and there was hay for rabbits.
Oh my
And
goodness.
um, and it was a menagerie that was in there. But they were able to keep their dogs and their pets with them.
Hmm.
They also were here, and the Red Cross and emergency shelter, and we've got an organization here in town called Humanity 918, and
Hmm.
they do a lot of work, um, and with us as well, and had rotations of meals and volunteers that would set up cots here in the hallway and would
Right.
work shifts. And we probably had about 60 people coming in and out
Oh my goodness.
of that time, and took advantage of that this last season. And we realized that there were people who were coming in that weren't necessarily unhoused, but they didn't have electricity in their gas.
Hmm.
They didn't have that way to get a hot meal. And so
Right.
we started making breakfast at 8, lunch at noon, and
Oh
supper
my
at 3.
goodness.
And
Wow.
So people that were here, that were staying here in the building, would have a hot, and they were helping to cook and they were
Right.
helping to clean up as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then we had a lot of people that were coming in from the community that were getting a hot meal and then would go back to their home where, they didn't have electricity or
Sure.
whatnot,
Yeah.
but they knew that they could get 3 hot meals. So that was just um, crazy chaos. Um,
Holy chaos.
Holy chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So,
love it. I love that ministry. Terry and I worked with the homeless in downtown Fort Myers, so I get
yeah,
I just have this image of what that was like for you and your congregation, and
yeah,
there's sense of a lot of congregations are so self-focused they can't see beyond their four walls, but you've torn the walls down, not literally, but you know, uh,
almost.
almost.
Working on it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what I hear in the love you have your congregation is that you've engaged them in the work of Christ in the community now. But it doesn't end there, dear sister. As I understand it, you're actively involved in the National LGBTQ plus Task Force for Equality and Inclusion in the Episcopal Church. Talk a little
Yes.
bit about that. I'm so proud of you.
Um,
That's so awesome.
yeah, I love that. In 2024, I was elected by our Oklahoma diocese to be a deputy for the National General Convention. And we have a national convention every 3 years, and it travels to different places in the country. And so about 4,000 people descended into Louisville, Kentucky for
Mhm.
that convention, and it was amazing. And I was asked to be on this task force to archive and audit the movement of LGBT inclusion and equity in our denomination
Mhm.
throughout the years um, since we as LGBT were affirmed
Mhm.
in our church. And so we have been going through the process these last 2 years and behind the scenes and reaching out to those who have paved the way and getting their stories and really looking at the resolutions that have been passed by General Convention and saying, this resolution was passed. Are we really doing what that
Right.
resolution asked
Yeah.
us to do?
Yeah.
And so kind of auditing the work that's been done and then we will present our findings. Um, so far, we will present our findings in the 2027 General Convention in Arizona.
Okay.
And so this has been such a labor of love, but also to really get into the details of a community of people that by the outside world are very marginalized, very
Mhm.
much not accepted,
Right.
very maligned, and talking about us coming from an evangelical background, many have some trauma
Uh-huh.
from their experiences in their originating denominations,
Right.
whatever that might look like.
Mhm.
And so when they come into the Episcopal Church and we in the South say, all means y'all, you
All
know,
mean
all means y'all.
all means y'all.
Yes. Um, that we all are beloved creatures of God.
Mhm.
And yes, no matter where you are on the spectrum, you are welcome here.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and that is a lot of the way in which my congregation is growing is in its LGBT presence and and peeling away the church hurt that's
Mhm.
been experienced in the past and knowing that they have a congregation that loves them.
Hmm.
They have a space of worship where their faith and their love for God is not called a liar.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
you are holy and you are amazing, and we need you on the altar guild.
Yes.
We're going to put you to work.
We need you in ministry.
Yes,
Have you ever
absolutely.
have you ever felt called to ordained ministry? And as you're saying that, you may or may not know this, but personally, in my family, my older brother, who grew up in that evangelical tradition, I know for a fact that he experienced that level of trauma. But he's the one that led me to the Episcopal Church because he found a
Wow.
welcome, a love, a grace, an acceptance, um, an affirmation that he was a beautiful child of God. And yeah, and he still is active in the church today, you
Oh,
know.
that's
Yeah. So
amazing.
yeah, I don't know if I ever shared that with you, but anyway,
You have not.
yeah, yeah. So I've seen that trauma firsthand in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So what a beautiful way, and I can only imagine what that's like bringing your presence and your call to love all of God's children and the beauty and diversity of God's creation,
Mhm.
um, as it exists in God's world, and praying that people see their neighbor through God's eyes and not the eyes of whatever. Yeah. And that's not political.
No.
That's the gospel,
Yes.
the good news of God
The
in
good
Christ.
news.
Yeah.
Amen.
So to
Yeah.
transition a little bit,
Hmm.
um, um, you're doing amazing ministry. You're happy where you're at,
Hmm.
but you're working on a doctor of ministry at the Virginia Theological Seminary.
Hmm.
Um, when you start thinking about that, that's a long process too. And as I understand, you're getting ready, you're working on your thesis soon.
Yes.
Um, you'll be the Reverend Dr. Janie Koch, and I'll be so envious. And I'll have to call you doctor at that point. No, I'm kidding.
No, no, please no.
But I love it. I love it. Um, as you think about that, and
Mhm.
you're happy where you're at, but what excites you the most about thinking about how that's playing out? You're being a teacher again, being re-educated, learning, going in depth. Um, what excites you about how pursuing your doctorate of ministry and what the future personally, pastorally, and in your studies, what excites you the most about all that?
Um, Honestly, it's what we've just been talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Because um, my project thesis is on church hurt and religious
Oh,
trauma.
wow.
And so unpacking that within myself
Yeah.
and knowing that there are so many that have experienced that and are experiencing that. Um, we had and just a one of the reasons why I chose to have this as my dissertation here in Oklahoma in 2024, we had a non-binary student in Owasso,
Hmm.
Oklahoma, very small town, and they were beaten up in the
Oh my.
restroom at school.
I
And
remember I remember hearing that in the news. Yes. Go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
and um, it was horrific. And next Benedict, and they succumbed to their injuries within about 24 hours. And um, and that really affected a lot of us in a smaller town in the
Hmm.
uh, rural parts of Oklahoma. And I wanted to have an honor of who we are and an honor for Nex and speaking that pain in public
Hmm.
and And again, I didn't ask my church if I could do this. We just organized and arranged a candlelight vigil. And we're probably 2 hours from Owasso.
Hmm.
And but the LGBT community and affirming community here in town were reeling from grief
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
fear as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
Um, and so we had the candlelight vigil, and my sanctuary was full,
Oh my
absolutely
goodness.
full. And people were coming from all over, traveling up to 3 hours to get
Oh
here
wow.
for that event. And I had advertised it quite a bit. Um, and it was such a beautiful, palpable space.
Mm,
And many of the congregants who now attend came because we had that candlelight vigil for Next.
wow.
And being able to learn and study theology, spirituality, and progressive faith
Hmm.
in now my doctoral work and actually apply that to what we're experiencing in our world now, which is church hurt, religious trauma,
Hmm.
and it's gonna get worse.
Hmm.
I want to be able to help, and I want to be able to speak into that with logic,
Hmm.
with evidence, and also um, with spirituality in a way that is grounding and it builds community.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. This, the the fact that everything that you're doing is the work of Christ, it just it's obvious. You're feeding the hungry, you're setting the prisoner free, you're reaching out to the captive, your people are captive to um, um, whatever ism you want to say. You're opening the door of grace in ways that's just amazing. And the question I was going to ask is, what is your dream? But I already know what it is. It's to continue to do the work of Christ in the community you're in, but
Yes.
sending people out to be God's hands and feet in the world, and you're doing that. So amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I can't wait to read your thesis. Please send me a copy.
I
It's
will.
ecooter at gmail.com. Just saying. All right. So listen, our time's coming. This is going to be a two-session podcast because this is good. I hope you're okay with that. I'll do a
No,
session A
that's
and a session
great.
B. Yeah, this has been great. So I do a little lightning round before I ask the final question, and then I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
give a plug for your awesome website because I don't think I have the URL right on my sheet here, but I think you can give it to us. But I'll put it in the show notes and everything because I know you got some great sermons. There's probably great videos of some of your sermons online that you can watch and some of the things that they're doing at All Saints in McAllister. So here's the lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes.
Real quick questions, real quick answers. Okay.
Okay.
Where's the most favorite place that you've ever traveled?
Um, Most favorite place that I've ever traveled has to be um, Scotland. Um,
Oh,
Edinburgh, Scotland, actually.
okay.
Um, I didn't expect it to be like that, and it was amazing. Yeah.
You're one of the second people that's told me about going to Europe, and that's on mine and Terry's bucket list.
Yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
Yeah.
I have Irish Scottish heritage in my background too, as well as a little
Oh,
German.
well, then you
Yeah,
must.
I tell you right now, I've got to go to Scotland. Um, who is a who is a mentor and a real short snippet that
Mhm.
shaped you? A mentor that shaped you.
Actually, it's two students that I had within the last few years of my
Hmm.
teaching. Um, Sarah and Bailey, and they were going through their own process, and I still keep in touch with them now very closely. Uh, Students, actually, they taught me
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
the day that the FAA examiner handed me my flight instructor certificate, and he said, now you can really learn how to be a pilot by teaching others.
Yeah,
Now you can really learn to be a Christian by being a representative of Christ in the world. And those students taught you more probably than you ever taught them, I guess. So interesting.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh, we got to hold on to that. Your students were your mentors. I love
yeah,
it.
very much.
Is there a book or a quote that's influenced you the most?
To Kill a Mockingbird,
Yeah.
without
Okay.
a doubt.
Okay.
I've taught that book so many times. I probably know most of it by heart. Um, the complexities of people and interacting with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
love
love
it.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. You The other thing is there's a little I'm actually looking for a reading list too for myself. So as I ask this question, I'm putting notes down. So I have to go back and read To Kill a Mockingbird again. So
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
is there a moment in life that stands out that you're most proud of?
Mm, this is, yes. I wouldn't say that I'm most proud of this, but
Or
it's
that
been
you're
the
proud
most
of?
recent.
Okay.
I Technology is a um, is can be very frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to learn how to put together a slideshow in Keynote. Um, Pretty intricate.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat here at the computer and I worked for many hours. And when I got it put together, I threw my arms up in the air and I was so excited.
Oh, that's so
And
awesome.
it flowed, and the transitions, and yes, I did this.
Oh,
I
how
made
cool.
this. I'm so excited.
The, I find that so interesting and so awesome is that someone who has accomplished so much by just saying, let's do it, who was challenged by technology says, by golly, I'm going to do it. And you did it. That is so cool. That is
Yeah,
so cool. I love it. I love
yeah.
it.
I'm
All right,
glad
I got,
no one was in the building, because I would have
oh,
been entirely embarrassed.
there's never been any curse words or any swear words ever said by an Episcopal priest ever, right?
Of
Okay.
course.
Oh, yes, we're so holy. All right, moving on. One more. Would you
Yes.
share, and I'll put it in the show notes too. Would you
Mhm.
share the link, the URL to your website so folks can actually just kind of tell us what that is? So
Mhm. It's a
can you just
blog.
okay?
It's revrevjanie.org.
RevJanie.org.
Mhm.
And I'll also put that in the show notes so folks can go visit and please send Janie a note so that you heard her podcast and that you're watching her sermons and you're going to come visit All Saints in McAllister sometime. Please do that. Wouldn't
Please
that be
do.
cool? I heard your podcast and I'm coming to visit. How cool is that? All right, so this is our final question, Janie, and I ask this of every guest. If someone listening were facing a major change in their life. Maybe they feel lost or uncertain about what's next. Maybe they're in their 50s or their 60s and they think, oh man, I'm too old to do anything different. Um, what encouragement or advice would you give them?
Um, I would say to think of yourself and talk to yourself as if you were 6 years old again. And 6-year-old kids have no excuses. They have no fear. they'll just do anything. And so if it frightens you, jump in. If
Oh,
it embarrasses you, you're going to learn from it. So return to your 6-year-old self and
oh
make them
my
happy.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love it. And somehow I envision from the start of the homeless shelter, the candlelight vigil, and the many other things you've done in your ministry, you and your 6-year-old self are awesome best friends. And that 6-year-old self is most likely your best mentor ever, if you ask me.
Could be.
Wow. I love it. Um, Think as if you were a 6-year-old again and you have no fear, do anything. If it frightens, embarrasses you, go ahead and do it. I love it. That is so awesome. I'll not forget that for sure. This has been great for me. I've enjoyed being with you. It's been too long, my friend. You are, I just find it an honor to be able to help you share your story, your honesty, your heart, your love of God's people. You just reminded us all that God calls us to be His hands and feet in the world. So, and I just really appreciate you tonight taking time. I know you got a busy schedule, but I'm forever grateful.
Thank you. It's been a joy to talk to you again.
And you, my friend. And dear listeners, I want to thank you for listening to our podcast, Never Too Late, Stories of Reinvention. Dear people like my sister, the Reverend, soon-to-be Dr. Janie Koch, who has looked at life and wasn't afraid. She went to her 6-year-old self and just went out and did what she was dreaming about. So, folks, listen to the podcast. We put a new episode out every 2 weeks. I try to feature folks just like Janie. We're just regular people that are doing amazing things. So I hope you enjoy the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're on Amazon Music, and we're also on YouTube. So please listen to the podcast. And thanks again. We'll see you in 2 weeks.